I chose to go to Dickinson College because it was one of the best academic choices I had in my original recruitment. My whole goal in seeking, I guess, higher education with tennis, was to get into the best academic school possible, using, my tennis and my current grades. Dickinson, was that best choice. I was expected to come into a strong tennis program with one of the best, players in the whole nation for D3. However, 2 weeks before I was supposed to attend and start Dickinson, the coach who recruited me left. And so with that, I was expecting to have, this guidance from, this awesome coach that I had many amazing phone calls with. I had a Zoom call with the whole team and him. And that just kind of went away in a snap. When I got to the campus, I didn't meet the whole team for, the first 2 weeks. It was only me and the other first year. And with that, it caused me, to seek out, a different social scene, and just get involved, with a bit more of the different student athletes and the non-student athletes, which in, the long term, that definitely, helped me be a bit more individualistic and for myself. However, I was really wanting like this kind of family environment through tennis at Dickinson. And at the beginning, I just totally didn't have that. When I decided to transfer, it was about in like mid-October was when I first, filled out my, 30-day release form. And I was talking to mainly like 3 different schools. And Lewis and Clark was one of those schools. And the biggest thing that Lewis and Clark had to offer was, that West Coast liberal arts environment. I'm from San Francisco, California, and being an hour and a half from home was definitely appealing. I noticed the community at Dickinson was a lot of students and student athletes, who lived within an 8-hour, drive radius. And that was, I was a bit jealous at times because I was like, well, on the weekends, these people are able to, go home, see their family, hang out, but also be able to, have the comfort of, socializing on campus. I did not have that choice. So that was one thing that kind of, shined about Lewis and Clark. The other thing was my coach now, Jimmy Chow. He was a great support system. He kind of was offering what I was looking for. Of course, if you guys know Jimmy, he doesn't make, any promises. He says everything, really like baseline, high level. However, like from what I was hearing from him, it was definitely, the basic things was definitely more of what I wanted to hear and was looking for than, being sold on these programs and so forth. So I really like that aspect. Also, Lewis and Clark was the only college I toured, which was the weekend right before COVID began, and when I stepped on campus, it was beautiful, super green. Students were really cool, and the team was very organized and had that family dynamic. So yeah, that's what stood out about Lewis and Clark for me. First, when I stepped on the campus of Lewis and Clark, I definitely had a lot of regrets. It was, not what I expected it to be. I was thinking, maybe I made an immature decision. Maybe I should have stayed at Dickinson for another semester. And the reason why I had these thoughts was specifically because, the biggest thing was that I started with, in the first 3 weeks of Zoom in the beginning of our second semester, spring 2022. And that was very tough, to meet people and just kind of like feel like I belong in some sort of community. I guess also because of this, for Zoom school, I was forced to be hanging out in different areas that I guess I didn't want to be in. And I just didn't feel free. I didn't feel like, I was able to, live in my own mind. My regrets started to fade away. I want to say like 3 months in, when I started getting fully, acquainted with the men's team, the men's tennis team. We started developing a bit more of like a family dynamic. We're eating dinners, we were also well connected with the women's team at the beginning, which was a nice combination. I was definitely getting more of that social side through tennis and in our season, which I wanted. And then I just started to realize that at Lewis and Clark, it's really like you get out what you put in, right? And I really, I learned that I had to be, all out there, personality-wise, and I started, meeting way more people, meeting way more student athletes, started hanging out with more student athletes and just students on a regular basis. And through me kind of pushing that envelope, and I was able to create some good friendships, realize that I was wanted on this campus, and find some really cool people. However, it did take a lot of pushing, and I'm still pushing today. It's been a year, and I thought, I'd feel, fully happy. But I mean, it's a unique environment. It's very challenging. But at the end of the day, that's why I chose Lewis and Clark, because I realized also, with having Portland as this resource, it gives me, a great opportunity for jobs and internships at the end of my time at Lewis and Clark. Whereas, of course, at Dickinson in central Pennsylvania, you feel, oh, am I really going to get a job, right next to these Amish people and farms? Maybe not. The liberal arts at Dickinson compared to liberal arts at Lewis and Clark, I wouldn't necessarily call Dickinson liberal arts per se. I mean, the cool thing that was offered there was I was an international business major, so I got way more of that, accounting, finance stuff. However, still, they forced you to take a lot of electives and liberal arts courses. But here with like kind of the third graduation requirement system, I only find myself, taking maximum 2 major courses, a semester, which gives me so much freedom, to have these interesting courses while, taking my major specific courses in psychology and entrepreneurship, my minor. And with this creative freedom in academics, I'm really able to create what I want, instead of kind of getting like pushed into one category and then specializing in this little thing. Whereas here I feel a freedom, to create kind of create my own major with the combination of entrepreneurship and psychology.